we're going to talk about foliage some more, and we're going to talk about stuff other than grass. So let's pull it up. I go to my Redwood folder, I go to my static mesh filter, and I'm going to go to foliage mode. So I'll start off with, I guess let's do rocks. And one of the things you would ask yourself is, do you want to be able to step on the rocks, or do you just walk right through them? Right now it's by default set to no collisions, which means you'll be able to go through all of your objects that you place in foliage. So let's change it to a block all, so we actually can step on this and it'll block us if we walk into it. And then we definitely want a random yaw. We could also probably do a random pitch. So that means that it'll I'm just gonna put 360, and that way it'll randomly turn different directions, so not every rock's gonna look the same. This is what they look like. So I also want to set the density to maybe 1 instead of 10 or 100. And then as far as the size, maybe from a 1 to like a 10, so we could have kind of some variation in our rocks. 10 is a bit too much. I'm going to pull that down to maybe 2. Okay. So we get some rocks that look like that. Let's go 5. And again, I will be able to walk up on this rock. Now, if you feel like your rocks are kind of poking up above the ground too much, or maybe they kind of sit at a weird angle instead of flat on the ground, you can always adjust how deep they go underground. And right now, it's set to 0, so that seems to be working just fine. I'll just leave it at that. So I'll just go ahead and put some rocks all the way around my level. Staying off my trail and staying off my house. And maybe I even want to put some up on the hills. Okay. So now we got some rocks kind of strewn about. Now I'm going to switch to, let's turn that off. Let's go ahead and pull up something we can put a lot of, like these ferns. So I'll throw those in. Let's just see what happens when I place them. So obviously that's way too dense. So selecting all those, I'm going to set the density to 1. Let's see what that looks like. It's a little bit better. Probably maybe still too much. And this might be something where I want to kind of clump it. So if you wanted to get really artistic, let me turn these off. I could do like one at a time, set the density up to maybe 10, and just say, okay, over here I'm going to have a clump of ferns, and over here I'm going to have a clump of ferns. You don't necessarily need to spread them evenly around your level. And then maybe I'll, okay. That's just a judgment call on your part, how you want them to look. Next, I will turn these off, and let's pull in debris. See what that looks like. Okay. So again, I'll set the density to 1. Still too high. Let's set the density to 0.1. Still too high. That's odd. You know what? I don't think I have those selected. That was my problem. I'm gonna set the density to 1. So even though they were checked, they weren't selected, which is why it didn't actually do anything. So something like that. And this I could probably kind of just throw all around, because this is going to be like the debris from all the trees that I'm going to throw in later. Careful not to get out in your house. If you do, you just have to come in and erase it later. And there we go. And again, if you go to select mode, you can select this and you can kind of see a little bit better what's going on. If you want, you can just tap G to pull that view on or off. Let's go back into foliage. And so you can just kind of say, oh, you know what, I missed a few spots over here, or whatever. And cool. Let's turn those off. Now I'm left with some trunks. G to turn that view off. See what that looks like. Okay, that's a mess. I definitely don't want these to be very dense, so I'm just going to set this to 0.1. I'm just going to throw a few of those around. I'm going to use those kind of sparingly. And then let's go to, we have these fern trees. And again, I don't probably want those to be very dense, so I'll set those to 1. And I definitely want to have collision on these, so you can't walk through them. Block all. Let's check the density on that. See how that looks. Right now it's tilting the trees as I go on the hill, and I think I want my trees to be completely vertical. So what I'm going to do is just up here, I'm going to uncheck align to normal, and that way they'll stay more vertical. So again, these are something I might just kind of put in clusters. And then, let's see what else we got. We got some other small plants right down here. Let's throw those in. That looks nice. I don't know if I want to completely cover my level in it. Maybe I'll put that, I don't know, I'll just try putting that on hills. They like curvy areas, we'll just say. Okay. And that leaves me with the trees. Some people like to place trees, just actually place them in the level, and that is definitely an option. So you don't necessarily have to use the foliage tool for the trees. I've seen some artists do that, but if you want to do it, again, you're going to get an incredible amount of density at first, so just make sure that you set that to a low number. Maybe 1 is probably going to be too much, but let's just start with that. And then I'm going to again say block all. G, so let's see what's going on here. And I'm just checking to see, do they spill above the ground? And it looks like they don't, so that's good. I probably don't want these to align to the normal. I want them to stay vertical because it looks weird if they would. Oh goodness. Alright, so many stuff. I'll have to set this to this density to 0.1. Dang, it's still too dense. 0.01. Okay. And then if you want some like clusters of trees, you could pull the density up in certain areas. So maybe I'll set it to 0.1 again. And just say, okay, there's a lot of trees here. And here. Wherever you click, you're gonna get trees. Captain Planet style. Cool. And if you don't like the big tall ones, you can set it so that it does the smaller ones. So let's see how this looks. And again, if these are popping above the ground like they are here, you can change the fact that, yeah, that's not gonna hold. You can change the Z offset from a minimum to like 30 to a maximum of like 10, and that'll push them down just enough so that when you place them, they'll be underground a little bit more. Sometimes you get things like this where two trees kind of, I thought I saw that, grow into each other. So just be aware that that could happen. So I have to Control Z quite a bit back to fix that, and I don't know if my history is going to go back that far. So yeah, just don't make that mistake if you can help it. I can always come in and erase individual areas if I need to, and then just repaint them. Or if I feel like, oh, you know what, there's too many trees right here, I'm just going to pull this one out. And then these ones kind of stick above the ground, so maybe I'll delete those and repaint them. This one does too. Yeah, just come in with the eraser and do what needs to be done. And let's see what happens if I replace those. See if they look any better. Yeah, it's still coming in pretty high. So I'm actually going to pull those numbers down from. Oh, for some reason it got deleted. Make it minimum offset. Oh yeah, because I Control Z. Minimum 30, maximum 10. Let's see what that does. That's better. It is starting to get a little choppy, so I might be going a little overboard with these trees, but it should be better when I build my lighting. All right, let's play it. So we got our trail here, some rocks that I can actually jump on, and most of the trees are underground. You can still see them too that are not. Cool. My world is coming to life. Now you'll notice that it says you need to build lighting, and you definitely want to build lighting after you do this because it takes a huge performance hit. So I'm gonna hit build. You don't have to stay and watch, but if you want to see what it looks like in the end, right now my frame rate, FPS is right there, is very low. We're talking 30 to 30 frames a second. So once I build my lighting, that should improve. So you can stop watching now and fast forward to the end if you'd like.